So I just want to talk a little bit about some stuff that's worked for me when it feels like I'm so deep in the day-to-day, like the drama of the day-to-day things, that it's tougher to remember or to see like the reason that I'm doing it all for. Because what happens for me is if it gets to a point where I feel like I can't see outside the little bubble of the thing that is the day-to-day problems, the little day-to-day issues, like the little dramas that come up, needing to get this done, needing to get that done, that not going exactly how I want it to, or that going, like, whatever it is. If you're not able to process that, if I'm not able to process those, then it gets to the point that the actual decisions I make and the actions that I take are different, because I'm not able to see outside of that, right? If I'm not able to see outside of that, then I take actions and make decisions based on the fact of this little bubble that I'm in, right? Of like the day-to-day drama type stuff. But if I'm able to, even when I'm in that, like in those states of, like the day-to-day process that is going after whatever you're going after, like when I'm in that, if I'm able to like remember or keep in mind the actual purpose for doing it and the reason that I'm doing it, that allows me to actually take different actions and make different decisions. And something that's been helpful for me, I don't know if this works for anyone else, but it's like, this is just something that's been helpful for me, is have different times where I'm able to actually take time to remember what it is that I'm going towards, and what I'm moving, like what I'm doing everything for. Because that helps me, like the more that I'm able to do that, the more that actually becomes real. Like that becomes more real than the little dramas of the day-to-day things that come up, or the day-to-day things that come up, that pop up. Like it literally becomes more real because that is what is presented to me more often. And so it's really a process of getting into the place where that's actually where you're at. That's actually you. But at the start, it's like, it's not going to be there. And it's an ever-changing, ever-evolving process. Like, I don't even know what I'm really trying to say here, other than like something that's been extremely beneficial for me is I don't know, like the way that I was brought up or grew up, it was different in the sense that like there wasn't any kind of bigger, there wasn't necessarily any type of bigger vision. Like it wasn't restrictive, but it was also like the idea or the thought to question like how much more there is, or how much more you could do, or how much more is out there, like how much could you actually get. That wasn't really a thing. And so something that I've always, I don't know, struggled with or dealt with is remembering that there actually is like more stuff out there, or there is more stuff available. And continually remembering that. But not in like not in a way where it's like it's just something that you talk about, but in a way that if you actually take like this is what I was talking about earlier with the action. Like if you actually take the action that leads to those things, you actually have the capacity to get to those things. Because I mean, it's cool because like things that I used to write, or like I write stuff down. I mean, now I consistently write stuff down that like basically every day, so that remember what I'm doing, right? I'll write stuff down at different times. I didn't necessarily do that before, but I still had ideas of like, okay, this is what I would want a business to look like. This is what I would want for income. This is what I would want for to be building towards for like for investments and for that type of stuff. And at the time, like, it seemed absolutely completely, I don't know, it was almost discouraging because I was like so far away from that it felt like there's no way that I could get there, right? But and I mean, even now I'm nowhere close to where I want to be. But what I'm saying is, like, 4 or 5 years ago, if I were to like think about, okay, this is where you'll be at now, right? Like, it didn't feel real. Like, I didn't know I didn't know what actions I actually needed to take to get there, right? But what's cool now is, like, I can see, okay, it actually happened. Like, these things that these goals that I had set, or these ideas that I had about what could be there, like, it's actually, some of it has actually come true, some of it has actually happened. And so it wasn't the cleanest process to get from there to here, right? But it still happened as a side effect of the action that was taken. And it's cool to see that, because, like, now when I'm thinking about, like, when I'm writing stuff down now, or when I'm thinking about what I want to create now, it's like, okay, I actually know I have a little bit more confidence. Like, it doesn't feel like a complete shot in the dark anymore, because I have more confidence, because I know, like, I've actually done this before. I mean, at a very small scale relative to what can be done. But I've done it, right? So now, like, going forward, it's like, okay, I don't know, you start to realize how much you can actually create. And yeah, like, how much you can actually create. And for me, it's like the fact that that's actually what I want to do. Like, I don't like, that's when I feel the best. That's when I feel like I'm, like, the most on purpose or on mission, or however you want to say it. Like, when I feel like I'm doing what I'm actually put here to do, is when I'm creating that. And I mean, because I've been told, just like in the past, I've been told everyone needs time to, like, you can't always be it's almost like like people say you can't be doing something purposeful all the time. Like, there has to be time where you're not, I mean, I guess you have to have time where you're basically, like, not doing anything, and like, that's a good thing. And for the longest time, I would, like, try to do that, where it'd be like, okay, I got done enough, or what I said I wanted to do. Not even that, but it was like I thought that I needed to make time to basically, like, sloth, I don't know what's the word, like, off time, where I wasn't doing anything. And it was like I had to force myself to do that. And what I started to realize is that's when I felt that's when I felt the worst. Like, I don't know, everyone says, like, rest is, like, we need it, and we do need it, but we need, like, actual rest. And then when you're done with when you're rested, then you go again. Like, but like, rest is you're actively doing something. Like, to me, actual rest is almost the same thing as, like, work, where it's an active process of rest. Like, you're actually resting and recuperating. You're not doing something that is going to be detrimental to what you say you want to do, but you're actually resting and recuperating. And that's, like, an active process towards that. Something like like off time where you're, whatever it is that you can do in the off time, right? That's just for myself personally, like that's not taking me towards anything that I want to do. It's not allowing me to rest and recover so that I can go again. It's just like wasted. Like, this is just for me, like for myself. It feels like it's wasted time. That's it. It feels like it's wasted time. And like I said, I tried for a long time to like convince myself that I needed that, because I mean, everyone said that you're supposed to have that time, or you're supposed to have things like that where where that's what you do. But it's like I finally accepted sure I can do that, right? It's not that I can't do it, but I don't want to. And I don't feel good when I do that stuff. Not because like I think I always need to be doing something, but it's more of like I don't want to actually do that. It's like I was talking with someone about this earlier, but it's like meditation. I don't know where this whole video is going, but I'm just but it's like the meditation piece. Like it got to a point where I was pretty good at it, where I could like sit there for 60 minutes, not move, and have a fairly like not really any thoughts going, or like actively doing whatever was in the meditation. Like I got pretty good at it. So it was like, okay, cool. Like not what, right? Like what do I do now? Like I can do that. I can get to this place where I'm there, but I want to actually go do something now. I want to go create something. I want to produce something. And it's like that stuff is like part of what could be said from this video could be like, well, you always have a hole that you feel that needs filled and it's never ending. And like that's something that's wrong with you. And to me, I think that's something that's right with not only me, but that's right with all people, where they always feel like there's something more that they can be doing. They always feel like they have more capacity that they haven't tapped into. Like, to me, if you get to a point in something, like if you think about any one thing that you're doing and you get to a point where you feel like you've reached the top and there's nowhere else to go, whatever that thing is dies. Like you stop doing that thing, right? Because there's no more, there's not a game anymore. It's just, like there's nothing left there if you don't create something, right? And that's when that thing dies. So to me, when if you're going to say there's some hole that needs to be filled, or there's something that's wrong with you, because you always feel like there's more out there for you. It's like we want to get to this point, or it's like people want to get to this point where they don't feel the need to want anything, or they don't, like they want to get to the end of the game and think that that's life. That's not life. That's when things die. Like things die when that stops. Right? So I don't know, like to me it's just it was accepting that, or not even accepting, is really actually thinking through that. Like thinking through is what is this whole paradigm like even true? Is it even right? Or what are my actual thoughts on it? And that's what it came down to. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be the same thing. Everything doesn't have to be work. Everything doesn't have to be trained. Everything doesn't have to be about money and finance. You can have family, you can have relationships, you can have all these different things, but those are all like, if those are something that you choose that you want, then it's still that same principle, where it's not just random off time where you're trying to not do anything because everyone says you're supposed to have this downtime. Like it's not that. It's that this is an area of your life that you want to put time and energy into, and you actually put time and energy into it, because like you're I don't, like, there's so many different, like, to create energy, you have to use energy. And so if you want to have this time or think you need this time where you're just like completely out of life, not doing anything, like you're not going to create any energy because you're not using any energy. Like your system is meant to be depleted and refilled, and refilled, like that whole process, right? To recover as you go. It's not meant to work at half speed. Like when you work at half speed, that's when compensations have the opportunity to start or to take place. And that was something that I didn't really understand for a long time, because to me, max effort always meant like, it just meant like try harder, and that's not really what it means to me anymore. So it makes sense now for me, where like when you're actually going full speed, when you can have like full consciousness and be fully aware, that's when things actually recover the fastest, because you're in the thing. Like you're not half there. You're in the thing, so you're replenishing as you go because you're so damn into the thing. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but so I mean, point being, like, if or when you're hitting points, or like for me, again, this is what I do. If or when I'm hitting points that I feel like I'm stuck, I need to figure out and be able to process what is keeping me at that sticking point. And usually it's those little day-to-day things that like cloud your vision and keep it right here, right? Once you're able to kind of clear all that up, like you can see the bigger picture again, you'd be like, all right, that's why I'm doing everything that I'm doing here. And I think it's important to have multiple areas involved, like not only training, not only your sport, but also, everything else that you can have, because that's going to add more energy. That's going to add more fuel to the fire, because there are more things that you want to do. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, I don't know. Like I wanted to be able to talk and share a little bit on this is mostly like me processing things for myself, like getting more clarity on how things work best for me, and like what I can continue doing, or things that I need to cut out that will allow me to do more of what I actually want to do, and not just do things out of habit, like to always be actively, like consciously or fully aware in the choices that I'm making. And like, I don't know, like realizing how fun it is to actually make things happen. Because to me, that's actually fun, when you make things happen that you've wanted to make happen for a long time, and it legitimately happens. Like that is fun. Something where something that takes away from that for me isn't fun. Like I can have fun on the journey of getting to that place, right? Like I don't want to have work be separate from fun. I don't want to have training be separate from fun. I don't want to have any area be separated from fun. I just want it all to be like this is the life. Like this is your life, and you want everything to be in that. So it's not like, I don't want to have times where I take and be like, okay, this is time for me to go have fun. This is time for me to go work. Like, just like be like, I have this thing that I'm moving towards, that I'm